Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This is Seeking Me Productions, bring you another ranking video review.
This ranking video is actually something that's very incredibly close to my heart. And when it comes to video games, I always have this this pillar or this Mount Rushmore, however you want to call it, this great edifice of games that really got me started and really got me interested in the whole concept of video games in general. And with the Devil May Cry series, that is absolutely probably the game that put me on the map as far as wanting to be a true gamer, or at least getting really interested with the concept of what consoles and games can actually bring to the audience. It hit all the hallmarks as to what I really want to be involved with when it deals with story, gameplay, the works.
And so, Devil May Cry is a very high, fast-paced action game, particularly in the subgenre of hack and slash.
That has a lot to deal with, the darkness that surrounds the really gothic aspects, but at the same time, it never falls too far into one lane or the other. Devil May Cry likes to ride the wave as far as...
It's a genre blend.
Exactly. It blends together so many different aspects together, and it does it incredibly well.
The series was created and first directed by Hideki Kamiya, and then following afterwards, the following game's suit was Hideki Itsuno. He went on to also direct a lot of other Capcom games.
That's right. If you know anything about like Beautiful Joe and other
Dragon Dogma,
of course, and I absolutely love that series too. I mean, come on now.
So right off the bat, we're gonna start our ranking video, as usual, from the bottom to our best, worst to best, or at least favorite to favorite. But Devil May Cry 2.
Now this was always going to hit that wall again, or at least that area of trying to pick up for where the original, or at least its predecessor, left off. Devil May Cry 2 definitely has this points in there that any gamer would be able, would be interested into seeing. Again, it's a sequel to a very famous franchise, or at least a very famous at the time, a very famous game. But the main problem is, and I feel as though this is probably going to be on everybody's list who has anything to do, or at least has anything to say about this game, is that it leaves a heck of a lot to be wanting in a game, let alone a sequel to an incredible start. At the start, at the beginning. The gameplay is really wonky. The characters are off, and Dante, they decided to bring down a lot of his quirkiness, or at least a lot of his his banter that he likes to bring. They made him try to be a little bit more serious, and that just didn't really work. I feel as though graphically it was a step down. Definitely did not pay attention to what his predecessor was really trying to do.
It's basically just unplayable.
It's very much so. I don't even really remember most of the the story for that game.
Yeah, like on the basic, all game of the Devil May Cry series from baseline about demon devil hunters. Mostly you're playing as Dante throughout most of the games.
But you also get the addition of another devil hunter, Lucille. And she brings in some really interesting aspects too, as far as where her storyline is tied towards Dante and the history behind the family and the darkness and the demons in general, and of course with her gameplay of almost like angelistic aspects that's all brought into her with avian features as well, but. For the most part, it's pretty much a hit and miss. There really isn't enough here to keep anybody engaged.
Second on the list is DMC, Devil May Cry.
Now, I have been always in the fan camp of wanting them to continue on with the Devil May Cry series, and then when Devil May Cry took such a long hiatus after Devil May Cry 4, DMC was supposed to be a promising new entry that was supposed to revitalize the entire franchise, and it was being helmed by up and coming fresh game developer that gave us Heavenly Sword, that being Ninja Theory. So immediately right off the bat, we was always thinking like, okay, this might be some promising. They know how to deal with hard-hitting, action-packed, deep storytelling. The problem is when they got to Aspect, they went completely in their own directions.
Now, DMC, a lot of in the 2010s, early 2020s, Capcom was very heavily pushing for more of a Western appeal to their games. And Ninja Theory, a UK-based video game developer, was what they were trying to partner on with, trying to make this game. As far as the story and the characterizations,
Dante is, I mean, there are aspects of him that are essential to the character of Dante, that having that devil may care attitude. But they made him way more angsty in this one.
a lot more obnoxious.
Very obnoxious. They, added elements that you see from other games and other video game characters with the incredible use of swearing and cursing, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to say Dante can't curse, but this was the upteenth level of just being an overall punk about it.
Yeah. It's like an amalgamation of various different types of games in this Democrat series, especially
like Prototype. I was seeing it was aspects in that.
Yeah, also basically using having the characters of Virgil in there as well.
That was a complete character suicide. But there are some aspects to DMC that I actually did like. I liked the concept of trying to change what they were doing with other video games, with the whole concept of the soundtrack, or at least the music was added to it. Having the music and the environment evolve as the gameplay continues to ramp up or gets more intense. I like their concept, what they was trying to do with the Devil Trigger, making it very unique for both characters or whoever you're playing with. And in this,
and I was like, the basic combat is also at times enjoyable. It's just that that combat by itself, when going up against a lot of the bosses, are forgettable.
It is very forgettable, and there was really not enough differentiation between any of the enemy types at all. Really, I mean, you had it was mostly based off the concept of angelic and demonic, weapons, which on paper sounds cool, but when it was executed, it just didn't really offer enough.
Next on the list is Devil May Cry 4.
Now, when Devil May Cry 4 came out, I was definitely geeking out. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because it was definitely a bridge from Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 4. In this one, when they introduced the concept of Dante being more of an antagonistic figure, then we was going.
At least that was the marketing.
That was the marketing. The marketing was having in that direction. And then when they introduced the concept of Nero, the Double Bringer. That was interesting. I was like, okay, cool. Let's get see how this is going to end up. I really did enjoy playing with this title. They added some really cool, platforming elements, especially with the concept of Nero's Devil Bringer, being able to grab and hold on to enemies or transverse their environment depending on where you're looking at or engaging with.
Yeah, and not to say that you don't play as Dante.
You definitely do.
Like you play as him for a third of the game, near the end. Mm-hmm. And also, like, if you get the special edition, you play as Virgil as well. Mm-hmm. With Devil May Cry 4, it was a nice change of pace because, especially aesthetically, it was like one of the earlier PS3 games after so many years on PS2.
But I feel as though the problem where it comes for Devil May Cry 4 is that I feel as though a lot of the interesting elements they added to this, or at least for what they was doing with the story, if it's just not enough.
I feel as though if they did a special edition much sooner, it would have been, because the special edition came out like years after.
Yeah,
like to the point that
we didn't know it was ever going to get anything.
Like it was like it came out when PS4 was just in its earlier years, and just before Devil May Cry 5 was about to release. It's just that it felt Devil May Cry 4 feels like so much was left on the counter table, and even after the special edition came out, it's still it's very high ambitions, but it just wasn't reaching there at all that much. Now go across the midway section, Devil May Cry 5.
There's a lot to unpack with Devil May Cry 5. Again, we're bringing back certain characters, that being Dante, Nero, who is definitely become a full-ranked double hunter in himself. Dealing with the concept of the mysterious antagonistic force that ends up, if you play the game, you understand where that's going. Trish and Lady make their appearance like they did in the last one in Devil May Cry 4, but I feel as though one of the main hallmarks I feel as though that comes out of Devil May Cry 5 is a stylistic approach towards graphics. It was a huge step up from what it was in its earlier days. It was very, I think it was definitely the situation was brought to us because of the engine they were utilizing.
Like similar to not just playing as Nero, you also play as Dante, and also another character, V, kind of like self-explanatory a little bit. That one, as far as story is concerned with this one, the disappointing aspect is very predictable.
Incredibly predictable, and is very, and I guess also, again, like the May Cry 4, it feels as though it was just a lot left. It was that they could have been said. I feel as though they could have went even harder on Dante's and his brothers and his family's history. And what it was, and how well that tied in with the history behind everyone who was involved.
And also, it was missing. Like, even though they upped the ante with the combat on this one, especially with the three different ways that each character greatly diversify themselves.
Yeah, they were. You will definitely not be amiss from understanding how Dante plays compared to Nero plays and various other characters. They all have their own unique flavor that is really interesting to be able to handle.
But as much they pretty much go all ham on the combat, they do scale back very much so on the traditional platforming elements,
yes,
as well as some of the puzzle solving elements as well from past games.
And I'm also going to go ahead and say this. For a series that I believe this is rated M, right?
It's rated M.
Yeah. They don't go hard enough with the concept of rated M. I mean, if you're going to go there, go there. You're dealing with individuals that are utilizing guns and swords. It's huge honking swords and other kinds of weapons in general.
Devil May Cry is a hallmark. It's an innovation in the action hack and slash genre. But when you compare the combat to this, with a game like Ninja Gaiden, who deals with basically similar situations of hack and slashing demons and whatnot.
Like when you ever see how well those games actually work with the concept of truly hacking and slashing through your hordes of demonic foes,
with limbs and all that type of stuff.
You gotta say, when are y'all going to be able to jump on board too?
Now, at the time of this video, Onimusha is going to have an upcoming title. Again, and it was like they're aiming to bring some of those more gory and more hack and slash elements into that game.
So I'm waiting to see how well when Devil May Cry comes back to us, when they're going to start implementing their own unique touches to those elements as well.
So coming up into the final two on this list, Devil May Cry.
The one that started it all. The one that really got us hooked. Yes, if you take away the concept that when this game was actually brought to us, you can understand where certain individuals might look at it with less fun or tinted eyes as it were. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, the way they were able to introduce the dark, oppressive atmosphere with the action elements is really where Devil May Cry for me hits home.
Yeah, we could bring a lot of the story, introducing a lot of the story trademarks, the backstory. Dante, his very charismatic attitude is on display, but also a sense of mystery around him. Mm-hmm. We know that he's half demon, devil, based on his father's side of the family, Sparta, who was this great demon lord. It's great that this game really set such a high standard for all the games going forward.
Something that I feel as though going forward, I hope that the games revisit what made this game so interesting. We gotta also remember, for the Devil May Cry, those who don't know, is a offshoot of when they were trying to develop Resident Evil 4. And a lot of those horror elements are still present deep inside the coding of Devil May Cry, and I feel as though that atmosphere that was developed for those for those games needs to come back.
Mm-hmm. And it's like this neo dark urban vibe that is only still represented from the music.
And that music, to this day, the Statue of Time from this game, oh my god, the cathedral elements, the choirs, oh my god. Mm-hmm. That's top tier game right there.
And also one of gaming's underrated major villains, Mundus.
Oh yeah.
Whose presence echoes throughout the whole
in ingenious ways too. Mm-hmm. You have to really pay attention up until up until he's actually full force and center.
Our number one game on the Devil May Cry series is Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening.
This game, come on now. Dante at his started out, which he's just so cool. The addition of being able to play with multiple style systems is such it was such a unique twist they added into the Devil May Cry formula. I love the story. Hit this almost Shakespearean tragedy that follows Dante and his brother Virgil. The unique differences they added in between those two characters, ladies, introduction into the series, and how well she was integrated here too, especially from being given such a credible female character in the form of Triss from the previous game. So good.
The games also carries on the platforming and also even more puzzle solving that all helps diversify the gameplay.
And it's something that I feel as though a lot of people just don't give enough credit to. There is a difference between which version of the game you do play. The original one that was sent out for us when we first played it was so much more harder than the special edition was. And it was such a really cool, unique experience being able to play that game fully in this first, when it was first introduced, and separating the boys from the men or the adults from the children, however you want to look at it. It was so gratifying being able to go throughout that. It really made you feel like you were that cool devil hunter, just like Dante.
Yeah, it's old school video game difficulty is such a treasured thing that not many younger generations can really experience.
The concept of truly just getting good.
So there we have it. This is our ranking video for Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry is set to have a new animated series.
We're definitely watching it, y'all.
Yeah. It's the second one actually. Japan made their own anime back in the day.
Exactly.
It was short-lived.
So yeah, I can't wait to see it. Are y'all fans of Devil May Cry? If you are, which ones are your favorites? Let us know.
Hopefully for a new game. If I would love to see if they were to remake or reboot Devil May Cry and probably switch up the gameplay to more of a if you can do the high, fast-paced hack-and-slash element, more gore, and also probably switch the camera perspective a bit, probably for a little bit of an over-the-shoulder perspective.
It'll be interesting to see where they go with this franchise. Again, I'm always up for
some experimentation,
but again, staying true towards what makes Devil May Cry work.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been Seeking Me Productions. We are close to 1,000 subscribers.
Come on, y'all. I know we can get there. Let's just come on. Let's keep this body moving.
So it's always good, best to like, share, subscribe, comment below. We want to hear your thoughts, and also check out our other social media outlets of X, Threads, Instagram, and Letterboxd for what we feel about from other media content across the globe.
See y'all later.
See you.